Rich Shea here, unboxing Furnace, an engine building game by Ivan Lashin, published by Arcane Wonders and Hobby World. Boy, I ordered this game a long time ago, and then it finally arrived. I was really looking forward to it. I'm hoping it'll be a light engine building game. It doesn't take too long to play, and it's mostly a card game. So let's open it up. Here's the game rules. It's very stark, kind of plain, but then it opens up and there's a lot more going on. In the game there are 36 company cards. They have two sides, 5 single-sided startups, 5 capitalist cards, those are your special abilities, a first player token, this game is set in Russia apparently, and 4 player color tokens, just so you remember who you are while you're playing. The players are going to get 4 capital discs that are used to bid on the companies. That's part of the heart of the game. And there's one neutral colored disc with a 2 for I think the 2-player or single-player version. There's coal cubes, iron bars, and oil drums, yellow oil. Some multiplication tokens in case you run out. 12 upgrade tokens, probably involved with flipping these over to the good side, and 61 money tokens. There's a round counter. It's a little unusual. You twirl it down the side to show which of the 4 rounds is going on. A die for the 2-player game. The cards go on there when they're stacked up, so it's not like why this huge thing just to show the turn. Okay. It explains how the company cards work. The top of the first side is a compensation effect. I guess we'll talk about that later. Then there's what the card actually does, and in outline form what else it's going to do when you flip it over. Okay, so basically you put something in up to so many times, you get something out. The point of the game is money. Alright, so company effects, they might extract stuff where they just give you resources with the symbols for oil, coal, and iron. Processing, where they convert things, and there's a number of times you can do it, and what the output is, in this case money, in that case an upgrade token. And compensation effects, which is what you get if you don't win the company when you bid for it. So players set up the game, you get a random startup card, a random capitalist, and a set of 4 discs. I guess we'll get to those. Okay, each capitalist gets a different superpower, and your startup card will have some starting resources for you, but only once. Put the round counter in the middle, set it to 1, shuffle the company deck, and put some out. Choose a first player, and there's some recommendations for what happens when you play the first time. In a game round, there's an auction. You put out a variable number of cards, 6, 7, or 8, depending on the number of players. Okay, and you start putting out your bids, starting with the first player and putting out 1 bid at a time. Now they're called capital discs. You don't actually have to pay for them. You just get this set of 4 for each round. And the rule is you can put a disc on any of the cards, but you can't have 2 of your discs on the same card. Okay, and you can't have 2 discs with the same value on a card. So once somebody bids 2 on a card, nobody else can bid 2 on that card. And you keep going until everybody's placed all their discs, and then you resolve the results. You'll always want to place all your discs because the results turn out this way. What they recommend you do is you stack the discs. That 1 disc is the smallest and the 4 disc is the biggest, and you work your way down. Except for the bottom disc, everybody gets compensation. So the compensation on the top of the card, I think, and extracting or producing, but you multiply that by the value of the disc that didn't win the auction, okay? And you perform the compensation action. And then whatever disc is on the bottom, that person just gets the card. They don't perform any compensation actions, okay? Then when everybody's done that, the players do production. I guess you could do it simultaneously, but when you're first starting, you should probably keep an eye on each other to make sure you all understand how to do it. You execute the cards in any order, and you just do the conversions, okay? Now your startup card, one of the things it does is it gives you a conversion token and the ability to convert using conversion tokens. You don't have to use them all at once, as well as some kind of thing to produce some money, I guess. Okay, so that's it. Then you play. At the end of the round, when all the players are done with their production, you if it's the end of the fourth round, you just score. At the game end, it's just money. Okay, and if it's tied on money, the most resources. Now, there's a variant where when you acquire a factory, you put it in a certain order relative to the other factories, and you cannot change the order later, even if you upgrade. But a new factory doesn't have to go on the ends, it can go in the middle, but you sort of have to pre-plan how your production chain is going to work for the rest of the game each time you acquire a new factory. And that's pretty much it. There's a two-player variant, and that's the game. Pretty straightforward. We'll look at the components here. I would say they're sort of medium thick items. So the player color markers, the turn indicator, the things in case you run out of resource tokens, you can use these multipliers, +3 or +5. Upgrade tokens, money, first turn play marker. There's one, 2 sheets of die cut material, and they're coming apart already, so that's good. A wooden die for the 2-player version. I guess there's a faux player that makes your life miserable. A bunch of plastic bags, not too exciting, and the bidding tokens. And we'll get those out, or some of them. So as you can see, they're numbered on both sides. The sizes are quite distinct. So if you had a stack of 1, 2, 3, 4, that would be a legal stack because it has all 4 colors and all the numbers. And you could see you just pile them up in order, and compensation times 2, compensation times 3, and the person who actually gets the factory for the rest of the game, you can never get compensation times 4 because 4 always wins. The rest of the bits are coal cubes. They're just cubes, not as exciting as the picture. Iron bars. They're actually bar-like things, and in fact, actually kind of finished in glossy. I guess that's nice. Makes it a little more metallic. And oil drums in yellow. Well, I don't know what other color I would have picked. We already have black for the cubes. I guess maybe you could go with brown, but at least they're very distinct this way, so that's good. Both shape and color are distinctive. The cards, looks like I'm going to have to open them the hard way. So here's an industrialist card. Oops, a little extra something. Okay, like this one, once per production phase, you may spend 2 coal to resolve one of your cards again. So each of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 powers, and then there's the factory cards. These are the startup cards, or one of the startup cards, where you start with a coal and an iron, and then you're going to get 2 coal to make money, but you can upgrade with one of the coals that you have and an infinite number of times. So I guess we have to, is that a startup card too? Yeah. No, that's an actual factory, so we've got to do that. So we'll look at one of the factory cards. The compensation in this case is an actual action. Compensation, you can turn coal into oil. The factory itself turns coal into oil, but when you upgrade it, it's going to have that. So there's no compensation on the back of the upgrade, but now whenever you use it, you get an upgrade token, so you can upgrade more of your factories faster because your startup card lets you do as many upgrades as you want. So the cards are a nice artwork. I think there's probably only a handful of different images. Well, there's actually quite a few different images that are repeated, so that's nice. And that's the game. Now the tray has, it comes with a plastic tray with vacuum forming, and maybe we'll show that briefly. So you can see that the tokens can go in here, I think, and the resources in here, the cards in there, the die, and everything else in here. I wonder if that's to hold the money. And then the players can have their own bags full of tokens. That's probably how that's going to go. I'm looking forward to playing the game. It's not super complex, but it looks like it has some interesting puzzly engine building stuff. So thanks for watching, and I know this one's short, but I hope that gave you enough information about the game so you could decide if it would be interesting for you. Bye for now.